So, Idaho.
Hmm.
I mostly think potatoes, right? And maybe beautiful mountains, that natural charm.
Yeah, exactly. It's got that reputation.
But digging into these sources, I was genuinely kind of floored by how much of its history is just laced with these really eerie tales.
It's true. And today we're taking a deep dive into exactly that, Idaho's most haunted places. We're exploring all this reported paranormal activity that honestly, it really blurs the line between, well, reality and the supernatural.
Yeah, it might surprise you what we've uncovered.
Definitely.
So our mission here really is to unpack these stories, dig into the historical context, and bring you those eyewitness accounts we found across a whole bunch of sources.
Right. We want to pull out the most important sort of nuggets of knowledge and insight, help you understand what makes these places feel so spooky.
And maybe even shed some light on, what hauntings are all about, maybe.
Exactly. We've looked at a stack of pretty fascinating articles, reports, local accounts too. Each one adds its own unique little piece to Idaho's ghostly tapestry.
So get ready for some surprising facts, maybe a few shivers along the way, enough to keep you hooked, hopefully.
Okay, let's dive in. Let's unpack this.
All right, so as we start unpacking Idaho's most chilling hotspots, one type of place just keeps coming up as inherently eerie places of confinement.
Oh yeah, prisons, jails.
Yeah.
They have a heavy atmosphere.
Let's delve into the dark histories there, starting with a real landmark.
Yeah.
The old Idaho Penitentiary in Boise. This place, it's formidable. Operated from 1870 way up to 1973.
And what's really chilling, like you said earlier, it was built by the prisoners themselves, using sandstone.
Wow.
Yeah. And it saw some incredibly brutal conditions, riots, executions. Over 13,000 inmates passed through there in its century of operation.
That's a huge number.
It is. And get this, 10 out of the state's 11 executions happened right there.
10 out of 11.
Mm-hmm. And while there are 110 documented deaths, illness, murder, old age, a lot of people suspect the real number is way higher. Conditions were horrific, often undocumented.
And some of those deaths definitely left a mark, didn't they? Like Raymond Allen Snowden, Idaho's Jack the Ripper.
Oof, yeah. He's said to haunt the gallows area, Five House. His hanging was notoriously botched. Apparently, it led to 15 agonizing minutes of strangulation.
15 minutes? That's just horrific. Do the records actually back that up, or is that part of the legend?
Well, the sources we looked at suggest the accounts of a prolonged, botched hanging are pretty consistent across historical retellings. It's a particularly gruesome detail, and it probably contributes to why his haunting is reported as so intense.
Makes sense. People report hearing gasping, rasping sounds,
Wait.
even seeing his full apparition, and feeling this sense of dread, oppression.
Yeah, and it's not just Snowden.
Yeah.
There's the Siberia block that was 12-cell solitary confinement. It's described as just overwhelmingly oppressive.
I bet. What happens there?
Reports include, disembodied screams, yells, cell doors slamming shut on their own. People see shadow figures, orbs, hear voices.
And just generally throughout the whole place.
Yeah, phantom footsteps are common. People report being touched or even pushed by something unseen. And just that constant heavy feeling of being watched.
Creepy. It's a museum now, right? Run by the Historical Society.
That's right. You can actually go visit.
Okay. From that grim place, let's shift to another confinement site, but with a different history. The Brig at Farragut State Park, near Farragut and Athol.
Right. This place has a fascinating past. It was a huge naval training center during World War II, built incredibly fast, cost $100 million back then, built in just 11 months.
Wow.
It also served as a military jail and even a POW camp. Held over 900 Germans in 1945.
And like the Pen, it saw tragedy.
Sadly, yes. At least one homicide and one suicide during its WWII operations. And the hauntings reflect that military past. Ghosts in uniform or sometimes prison garb.
What do they look like?
Often described as a balding male apparition.
Yeah.
Sometimes transparent, apparently, and can just vanish. But what's really interesting here is the poltergeist activity. Objects moving on their own, sometimes even flying across cells. Reports of large, heavy things being, relocated mysteriously.
So more interactive, almost. Not just sights and sounds.
Seems like it. And these sightings are pretty well documented by campers and state employees alike. Suggests a more active, maybe disruptive energy compared to some places.
Okay, from military to local. The Kootenai County Jail Museum in Coeur d'Alene, built way back in 1892.
Right, and restored as a museum pretty recently, 2010. And the paranormal hotspot there. It's the top floor. That's where they used to house mentally ill inmates.
Oh, that adds another layer. What kind of things happen up there?
Well, windows are often found open, even though they were securely shut. And sometimes there are unexplained footprints in the dust right below them.
Weird.
Yeah, and steel cell doors found open after being locked.
Yeah.
Even large rocks that were placed in front of doors have been moved overnight.
Just move.
Just moved. Plus the usual phantom footsteps, odd noises, and that general feeling of unease, like you're being watched.
And I read something about mannequins.
Ah, yes. The insane room up there has some disquieting mannequins and dolls. Definitely adds to the atmosphere, you could say.
Okay, what's really striking me here, and kind of insightful, is how these places of confinement, places with so much extreme human suffering, they seem to generate similar kinds of phenomena. The footsteps, the voices, the feeling of being watched.
It is fascinating, isn't it?
Is there something about just being trapped or enduring that kind of intense duress that amplifies these things?
It's a really compelling point. That pattern, the residual energy in places of extreme stress, it does offer strong support for those theories that suggest intense human emotion can literally, imprint itself on the environment.
Playing back like a tragic recording.
Exactly. Like an echo. Now, for the skeptical listener, it's worth mentioning some researchers look into environmental factors, too.
Yeah.
Things like infrasound, maybe electromagnetic fields in these old buildings that could potentially affect how we perceive things, make us feel uneasy.
Right, blurring the lines.
For sure. But regardless of the ultimate explanation, that consistency across these different prison sites, it's undeniable. It's quite remarkable.
It really is, how those grim histories seem to leave such a powerful imprint. Okay, shifting gears a bit. Let's move from places people were forced to be to places people, chose to be. Hotels and inns. How do similar energies show up there? Where do we start?
Let's begin back in Boise at the Idaho Hotel. This place was built around 1890, maybe 1900. Used to be a really grand hotel, hosted influential people, travelers from the Transcontinental Railroad.
Right, but it's apartments now.
It is modern apartments, but it seems some of its past residents are reluctant to check out fully.
Okay, like who?
Well, there's the ghost of a bellman. Story goes he was gunned down right there in the hotel. He's apparently seen moving the elevator up and down, sometimes spotted peering around corners.
Just hanging around his old workplace.
Seems like it. Then there's the fourth floor. A man named Alexander Palmer Jacobs tragically ended his life there. People report lights flickering, hearing strange moans, and some have even felt like they were being pulled from their beds.
Pulled from bed? That's terrifying.
Definitely unsettling. And there are whispers of a woman supposedly murdered and buried in the basement whose spirit lingers on the lower levels. Plus, just general reports of lights flickering on and off throughout the building.
Sounds like a full house, spectrally speaking.
You could say that. And just a few blocks away in Boise, there's the Owyhee Plaza. It's been a landmark since 1910. Now it's more of an event space retail hub.
And haunted too.
Reports say so. Visitors and staff mention seeing full-bodied ghosts and feeling these inexplicable spiritual energies.
Any specific ghosts?
Yeah, there's a notable one, a woman in room 136. Apparently she appears, gives off this calm presence, and then just vanishes. Witnesses say they feel more curious than scared.
Interesting contrast to the Adana stories.
It is. But there are also reports of unsettling noises and that familiar eerie sensation of being watched at the Owyhee.
Okay, next up, let's head out to a ghost town, Silver City, and the Idaho Hotel there.
Ah, Silver City. It's really something else. Only about 4 businesses still open, but 75 buildings from the mid-1800s are still standing. Gives you a real sense of the past.
And the hotel itself was moved, brick by brick.
That's the story. Originally built in nearby Ruby City and then moved.
Yeah.
Oh, and you can only get there between May and November. The roads aren't passable otherwise.
So who haunts the Idaho Hotel?
Well, the spirits of former owners, for one, including a guy named Odie Broombaugh. He reportedly committed suicide in room 27 rather than suffer through pancreatic cancer. Guests report odd noises or feeling like someone brushed past them in that room.
Wow.
And there was a gunfight right on the hotel steps. 2 men died. The spirits are said to have just entered the hotel and stayed.
Oh my goodness. Any other apparitions?
Yep. Outside, people report seeing apparitions of a young girl and boy dressed in 1800s clothing playing marbles in the street.
Kids playing marbles. Ghostly kids.
Mm-hmm. Inside, lights apparently turn on and off by themselves, and there's a cowboy apparition described wearing a Western duster who just sort of hangs out on the staircase.
Whole cast of characters there. Okay, from a real ghost town to a motel with a very iconic name. The Bates Motel in Coeur d'Alene.
Right. Now, this wasn't always the Bates Motel. It started as officer barracks during WWII, then became the Roadway Inn. Mr. Randy Bates bought it later and, well, leaned into the name.
Is it really connected to Psycho?
It's rumored to be the real-life muse for Robert Bloch's novel.
Oh.
And that iconic sign. Apparently it was left behind by a movie production crew.
Huh. So is it haunted? Or just capitalizing on the name?
Reports say it's haunted. Rooms 1 and 3 are considered the most active. Guests and staff talk about feeling watched, finding mysterious cold spots, objects moving on their own like ashtrays, and of course, flickering lights.
See, classics. Is it still open?
No, it actually closed its doors back in 2015, but the spooky stories definitely linger.
Okay, we also have the Enders Hotel and Museum in Soda Springs. Sounds like there are a few different ghost stories there.
Yeah, multiple conflicting ones, actually. One about a man shot and killed, another about a man who fell down the stairs, and one about a murdered prostitute. Though apparently most apparitions seen are male, so the last one is considered less likely.
And the basement is the hot spot.
That's what reports say, yeah. The basement seems to be the focus.
Then there's the Gooding University Inn in Gooding, formerly a tuberculosis hospital.
Correct. Originally for TB patients. Locals also suspected it might have served as a mental institution at some point. It definitely has that institutional feel that often comes with hauntings.
And investigators have found evidence.
Paranormal investigators report hearing children's voices, experiencing what they describe as emotional touches, and even capturing ghostly farewells on audio recordings.
Wow. What else?
Full-bodied apparitions, shadowy figures, voices in empty rooms, doors banging, knocking, the works. They actually offer ghost hunts and overnight stays if you're feeling brave.
Yeah. Maybe not for me. And quickly, BJ's Bayou Restaurant in Roberts. That used to be a hotel, too.
Yes, it was a hotel, then got abandoned after the big Teton flood in '76. Became a Cajun restaurant in the '80s. Reports there include the spirit of an older man in a uniform and also a young girl.
So looking at all these hotels, inns, even restaurants, what's the takeaway?
Well, it really seems like the whole spectrum of human drama, violence, illness, tragedy, but maybe even just a life intensely lived within those walls. It all seems to imprint itself somehow. It creates this really diverse cast of lingering characters, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's not just the big traumatic events, is it? Like you said, even just the energy of daily life, maybe happiness or sadness, lived over decades in one place.
Exactly. It feels like the emotional energy saturates the building itself.
Yeah.
And because hotels see so many people come and go, they become these crossroads, these conduits for all sorts of spiritual manifestations, from those residual echoes of tragedy to maybe more interactive, seemingly intelligent hauntings.
It's fascinating how different experiences might lead to similar results, paranormal activity.
Precisely. It really highlights how these buildings become sort of repositories of human experience.
Okay, moving beyond buildings now. Let's talk about the Earth itself. How does Idaho's natural landscape speak, with hauntings? Let's start with the Shoshone Indian ice caves.
Ah, yes, in Shoshone. These are incredible. It's a lava tube about 1,000 feet deep, and the temperature inside stays between 24 and 32 degrees Fahrenheit all year round.
Like a natural freezer. But it has a legend.
A very chilling one. The story involves Princess Idaho, a beloved Shoshone princess. Legends say she's permanently frozen within the ice walls.
Frozen inside.
That's the legend. And visitors report hearing whispers, like someone pleading to be set free. They also report seeing shadowy figures behind the ice, hearing disembodied voices, phantom footsteps, and catching glimpses of her shadow flitting along the cave walls.
So it's seen as more than just a cave. A frozen chamber of secrets, I read somewhere.
That sums it up nicely. It's got that deep, almost sacred, but also sorrowful feel to it.
Then we head to the Owyhee Mountains, near Murphy. Very remote, isolated area.
Very. And the legends there are quite different. Shoshone and Bannock legends speak of these cannibalistic dwarves called Nimuragar.
Right, cannibalistic dwarves?
Yeah. Described as about 2 feet tall, with concealed tails, carrying tiny bows with poisoned arrows.
That's unexpected. What's their story?
They're deeply rooted in the indigenous folklore of the region, seen as these malevolent beings. The legends say they snatch children and eat them.
Oh, that's grim.
It is. And disturbingly, during the mining boom in the 1800s, settlers' children did frequently go missing in that area. It adds this layer of historical dread to the folklore. Whether people believe they're spirits or some kind of ominous beings, they've definitely haunted the collective memory there for a long time.
Wow. Okay, next. Massacre Rock State Park and the Fort Hall Bottoms. Another chilling legend here.
Yes, the legend of the water babies. Stories say children were kidnapped and, well, devoured near the water. In cold blood, according to the legend. And people report hearing the cries of babies in the area. In fact, the Fort Hall Bottom section is now off-limits because of reported incidents.
Off-limits, okay. Moving north, Spirit Lake. What's unique about this lake?
It's one of only 2 lakes in the entire world known to have a completely sealed bottom. Geologically sealed.
And the belief is?
That this makes it a perfect place to trap souls and spirits. They can't escape to the lake bed, supposedly.
Huh. Any specific spirits trapped there?
There's a Kootenai tribe legend. It tells of a forbidden love between a young couple. To be together forever, they drowned themselves in the lake, vowing eternal love. The tribe then renamed the lake to Semini, which means Lake of Spirits.
And people see them?
Their phantoms are said to appear on moonlit nights, drifting across the misty lake surface in a canoe.
That's quite poetic in a sad way. Okay, Mesa Falls in Ashton. Beautiful spot, created by volcano.
Gorgeous place.
Yeah.
But locals report the spirit of an indigenous Shoshone girl there. She apparently drowned accidentally while trying to save someone.
And how does she manifest?
People sometimes hear the sound of beating drums near the falls, and some have seen her spirit, usually dressed in white.
Lake Coeur d'Alene is next. Huge lake, formed by glaciers.
Over 26 miles long, yeah. And it has its own share of strange tales. There are stories of a fish woman seen sunning herself on big pointed rock.
A fish woman, like a mermaid.
Sort of, yeah. And even stranger, reports of some kind of aquatic horned creature.
Horned, what does it do?
Apparently it lifts boats right out of the water and then slams them back down.
Okay, that's terrifying.
For sure. People also report unexplained sounds on the lake, especially at night. And when the winds suddenly whip up the calm water, that's when the horned creature is said to appear.
Yikes. Okay, briefly, Scout Mountain. Anything specific besides just spooky?
The campground there is reported to be generally spooky and creepy. Bigfoot legends are popular in that area too, adding to the mystery.
And the Cherry Springs Nature Trail? Sounds nice.
Beautiful by day, yeah.
Yeah.
But at night, there have been instances of haunting reported. People doing investigations have apparently recorded spikes in electromagnetic fields.
Yeah.
And some spooky apparitions have supposedly been caught on camera.
Okay, so across all these natural spots, what's the connecting thread?
What's really fascinating, I think, is how many of these natural hauntings are deeply rooted in ancient indigenous folklore. It really ties the land's long history to its spectral inhabitants in a profound way.
It's not just a random ghost story popping up.
Exactly. Unlike maybe some other regions where hauntings are tied more to specific buildings or recent events, here in Idaho, you often see this blend of historical events, yes, but overlaid with these ancient beliefs. It's like the landscape itself holds on to these stories, these energies.
It really highlights that connection between culture, history, and the land itself, as if the land remembers.
Precisely. And it raises that interesting question, doesn't it? How much do these long-standing cultural narratives shape how we perceive potentially unexplained phenomena? Or are the old stories maybe a way of understanding genuine events tied to the land? It's a fascinating interplay.
It really is. Okay, so we've covered prisons, hotels, natural landscapes. Now let's hit some hauntings in places you might not expect, like a grocery store.
Albertsons in Idaho Falls, believe it or not. It's not your ordinary grocery store, according to local stories.
What happens there? Did someone spill the spectral milk?
Apparently there's a ghost reported there, quite specific. Wears a checkered golf hat and a brown trench coat. He's said to haunt the aisles and spook customers.
A ghost in a golf hat. Okay, that's memorable. I'd probably just assume it was a very dedicated night shift stalker.
Or maybe a former shopper who really, really misses those BOGO deals. Who knows? Then there's the Crowley House, described as one of the spookiest houses in the state.
What's its story?
The details vary a bit, but the main story is that the family who owned it left abruptly after some unforeseen deaths among family members.
And now?
Now, people report flickering lights, sudden strange sounds, even running water when no one's there. The property is vacant currently, which always seems to amplify that eerie feeling.
Schools too, right? Pocatello High School comes up a lot.
So it became this haunted spot, yeah. Lots of students and staff know the stories. There's a girl seen roaming the halls late at night.
Tied to a legend.
Yes. Supposedly a student who committed suicide there maybe 50 years ago. And the old vintage school bell. Sometimes it just rings out of nowhere.
Creepy. How about theaters? The Egyptian Theater in Boise.
Ah, the Egyptian. Beautiful landmark, been there since 1927. Shows movies, hosts performances, but maybe also hosts the supernatural.
Who's the star ghost there?
That would be Joe. He was a former projectionist who actually died of a heart attack right there in his booth.
Oh, wow. Died on the job.
Exactly. And now he's blamed for flickering lights, mysterious sounds, doors opening and closing on their own. People report hearing disembodied laughter, smelling odd smells.
Does he appear?
Sometimes. Apparently seen in the back rows of the upper balcony, and some people report feeling touched by him. This feels more like an intelligent haunting, right? Seems aware, interacts.
Yeah, not just a recording playing back. Anyone else?
There's also an apparition of a woman, thought to be a former staff member from the 1920s. She's described as wandering happily, maybe responsible for some of the lights and doors activity, too.
Okay, over at Idaho State University in Pocatello, Fraser Hall.
That's considered the most haunted spot on campus. It houses the theater and speech departments. Makes sense for drama, I guess.
Any specific ghost?
Rumored to be haunted by a spirit named Alex.
Yeah.
Witnesses report hearing phantom piano playing, seeing a ghostly audience in the theater, and hearing footsteps up on the 4th floor hall when it's empty.
Then there's Albion Idaho College, or what used to be the college.
Right? Now known for the Haunted Mansions of Albion attraction. It's steeped in dark lore going back to the 1940s. The college actually stopped operating in 1951.
And the current owners report things.
They do. The Mortensons reported unexplained lights and other eerie phenomena even before they had the electricity restored to the old buildings. It was even featured on Ghost Adventurers, which boosted its spooky reputation.
Now it's a huge haunted house event.
Exactly. Every fall becomes the largest indoor-outdoor haunted production of the Pacific Northwest. Jump scares, actors in costumes. But maybe, just maybe, some real supernatural occurrences mixed in. A blend of history and Halloween.
Okay, can't talk haunted Idaho without cemeteries. Rose Hill Cemetery in Idaho Falls.
One of the most famous ghost tales in Idaho Falls is associated with it. There's one grave in particular said to belong to enraged souls that haunt not just the cemetery, but the nearby area too.
Enraged souls and werewolves.
Ah, yes, the werewolf story. There are also tales surrounding twin tombs there that are supposedly cursed by werewolves. It's definitely a unique Idaho twist on cemetery lore.
It really is. Ammon Cemetery also has stories.
Yes. Stories of a little girl haunting the area. People claim to have seen her climbing a tree and waving to people driving by.
Waving. Creepy.
Anything else?
Reports of handprints appearing on fogged-up car windows as people pass the cemetery. And some folks who tried, experimenting near the entrance reported feeling intense anxiety. Just a really eerie feeling.
Canyon Hill Cemetery in Caldwell.
Yeah.
This one has a really specific, chilling legend.
The legless jogger, or sometimes called the midnight jogger.
Tell me about that.
The legend says if you park your car between these two specific ominous-looking trees across from the cemetery entrance right at midnight,
Okay.
the apparition of a jogger, but with no legs, floats up to the driver's side window and taps on the glass.
Taps on the glass. Oh, no thank you.
Right. And apparently there's some chilling video and audio captures out there that add to its eerie fame.
Pioneer Boot Hill Cemetery in Idaho City sounds like it has Old West ghosts. It definitely does.
Yeah.
Echoes of the Old West. People report encounters with the infamous Billy Clanton. Yes, the Billy Clanton roaming the grounds with his ethereal pistol.
Wow. And the lady in red.
Known locally as China Mary. She's apparently seen among the tombstones, sort of overseeing the area. It's also said to be a good spot for spirit photography, even capturing things in daylight photos.
Okay. Stricker Ranch, also known as Rock Creek Station, in Hanson. Oregon Trail history here.
A pivotal stop on the trail back in 1865. Sadly, many travelers died there from illness or hardship and were buried nearby.
Does that history play into the haunting?
Absolutely. The spirit of Mrs. Stricker, who cared for many sick immigrants before she passed, is said to be notably active. One story claims she actually woke up the current owner to warn them about trespassers on the property.
Protective even in death.
Seems like it. People also report seeing shadow people, and Herman Stricker's wife roaming at night. Full-bodied apparitions seen running or floating through the fields, and inside the buildings. Doors opening and closing, lights flickering. It's preserved now, and they offer ghost tours.
Pete's Tavern in Nampa. A bar haunt.
Yep, known as a paranormal hotspot. Especially the back room, they call it the cave.
What happens in the cave?
Recordings made there have supposedly captured 4 distinct disembodied voices. A female with a southern accent, a young man, a whispering female voice, and a grumbly old man.
4 different voices.
That's the claim. And witnesses report feeling spirits touch them, play with their hair, or whisper right in their ear. Sounds very interactive.
Definitely. Lastly, the Haunted Mill in Teton. Old flour mill.
Over a century old, was a flour mill, also part of the culinary water supply. Now, it operates as, quote, the scariest haunted house in southeastern Idaho.
Another one leveraging the hauntings.
Seems so, but there's a core legend, too. The ghost of Eloisa McKinnon. She tragically opposed an arranged marriage, story goes, and her spirit now roams the mill and grounds, adding this layer of deep eeriness. The tours take you through the mill, a log granary, an underground mine, a maze, expecting monsters, but maybe finding Eloisa.
So looking at all these diverse places, grocery stores, schools, theaters, cemeteries, bars.
It's really striking, isn't it? Idaho's historical tapestry. It provides these compelling, real-world examples for almost every nature theory about ghosts and hauntings.
Right. You've got the residual energy, like maybe in the prisons or the Crowley house.
Then you have seemingly intelligent entities like Joe the Projectionist or Mrs. Stricker. Even distinct poltergeist activity, like at the Brig.
It's like a living laboratory for the unexplained.
It really is. And it reminds us, hauntings aren't just confined to those grand Gothic mansions or dark abandoned places. They can pop up in everyday spots. A grocery store, a high school. It shows that every place has a story, you know? And sometimes it's a chilling one.
And Idaho seems to really embrace that eerie side, not just in these naturally haunted spots, but commercially, too.
Oh, absolutely. You mentioned Scarywood Haunt at the Silverwood theme park. Every October, it transforms with, 9 scare zones, draws huge crowds looking for a thrill.
And all those ghost towns we talked about, Silver City, Bayhorse, Burke, Rocky Bar, they provide this incredible backdrop.
Exactly. Like stepping back in time. Perfect setting for tales of gold rush prospectors, industrial accidents, Victorian spirits making their presence felt.
You can even take organized tours, right? Like the Ghost Walk in Idaho Falls.
Yeah, exploring places like Ghost Alley. It gives people a structured way to experience the local lore and maybe have their own encounter.
So why are we so fascinated by all this? Our sources touched on that, right? This draw to the unexplained.
They did. It seems humans are just naturally curious about the unknown, about the possibility of life after death. There's this challenge, this allure, in trying to decipher those EVPs, the electronic voice phenomena.
Those faint voices on recordings.
Right. Or investigating shadowy figures, trying to unravel the secrets these places hold. It taps into something deep in us.
But we should also mention the other perspectives, the more skeptical ones.
Absolutely. It's important to keep that balance. Psychological explanations like pareidolia, seeing faces or patterns where there are none, or sleep paralysis, those are often brought up.
And environmental factors.
Right. Things like fluctuations in electromagnetic fields, infrasound, that low-frequency sound we can't consciously hear but might feel even toxic mold in old buildings.
Yeah.
Some researchers believe these could contribute to the perception of hauntings. It really does blur that line between what we might call supernatural and what could be natural, just not fully understood yet.
So it makes you wonder, are people in these historically charged places just more attuned to subtle environmental cues? Or is there genuinely something more profound happening, something science is maybe still catching up to?
That's the big question, isn't it? It's likely a spectrum of possibilities.
So if people listening are inspired to go explore some of Idaho's eerie edges themselves, what should they keep in mind?
Good question. First off, be respectful. Observe any posted rules. Always get permission before going onto private property. And respect the history and potentially the spirits. No vandalism, obviously.
It's vandalism, obviously.
Practical stuff, too, definitely. Bring flashlights, extra batteries, make sure your phone is charged. Probably best to explore in groups, just for safety. And, honestly, trust your intuition. If a place feels wrong or dangerous, it's okay to leave.
Good advice. So, wrapping up, we've journeyed all across Idaho's really fascinating, sometimes chilling landscape. Ancient ice caves, cursed lakes, historic prisons, grand hotels, even that grocery store.
Each location with its own unique history, its own reported paranormal activity. It paints this incredibly vivid picture of a state that's just rich with spectral stories.
And as we've seen, whether it's those mournful cries of the water babies or the maybe mischievous touches of Joe the Projectionist's ghost, or just those phantom footsteps echoing in the old pen, these tales, they really endure.
They do.
And even if you're sitting there listening as a complete skeptic, the sheer volume of these detailed eyewitness accounts, the deep historical roots of so many of these legends, that's to make you ask, right, what exactly is lingering in these old places, and what can they still teach us, maybe about the past, or even about our own perception of reality?
It's a powerful question. And that allure, the mystery of Idaho's haunted places, it just continues to captivate the imagination. It invites us really to venture forth, maybe embrace the unknown a little, and try to unravel these enigmatic tales that just permeate the state's landscapes and buildings.